As we transition into our presentation, I'm going to start by reading some information about Prince, and then Sarah and I are going to have a short conversation before we open up the floor to stories from all of you about Prince, or questions or things that you would like to share about this wonderful cultural and musical icon. Okay? Okay. All right. So this is a tribute to Prince by Sarah Berger. I do not know much, so I'm very thankful for these words. Prince Rogers Nelson was born on June 7th, 1958, and passed away on April 21st, 2016, at the age of 57. To Sarah, he was never just a musician. He was one of a kind. He had a talent, style, and presence that nobody else could match, and she does not think there will ever be another like him. He was a Minnesota original, born in Minneapolis, and he left a mark on this state that people still feel today. Many of the pieces of memorabilia up here are continued as she's collected over the years, so they didn't just come from when he was alive. We'll get to some of those stories in a little bit. After seeing the movie Purple Rain and going to a lot of Prince concerts, Sarah and her sister decided that they just had to make the trip out to Chanhassen to find his purple house on Lake Riley. They did find it, and they sat out there watching for movement, hoping that maybe they would catch a glimpse of him. Sorry. They had no luck, but she was still happy to just be there and see it and to keep that memory with her. One of the most unforgettable memories she has of Prince was watching him perform at the Super Bowl in 2007. She watched it on TV, and like so many other people, she was completely amazed. It was raining, and he just kept performing like nothing was going to stop him. He owned that stage from start to finish, and to this day, she still thinks it was one of the greatest performances she's ever seen. Over the years, Sarah has collected newspaper articles, memorabilia, and anything Prince that she could find. At her shop over up the street at Northern Expressions, she puts together a Prince display with memorabilia that means a lot to her. It has always been fun to share that with people. I personally love walking past the windows and looking at the memorabilia that's up. It's always a little different year after year, and I appreciate that. Tourists will come in and ask about it, especially during Prince Week in April, which we are in, correct? Yes, this is Prince Week, so nice that we're celebrating today. A lot of people collect something, but I guess what Sarah guesses you could say that Prince became part of her collection, but he really became part of her life story too. She has dear friends send her Prince articles in the mail because they know how much she admired him. One time, the manager and her brother from our Domino's found a great newspaper article at a garage sale and picked it up for her. And that one's the one over here. And there's another newspaper article here as well that she was able to find at the garage sale. Little things like that mean a lot because it shows how much people know Sarah and know how much she loves Prince. It's a great way to show love. I encourage you all to think about the people in your life you could do the same for. Yeah, what is the thing you love that people could also send you gifts for? Sarah even had the pleasure of seeing Prince while she was pregnant 39 years ago. And then later on, she was able to take both of her sons to a concert in St. Paul. It was very special being able to share someone she admired so much with her sons. She still smiles thinking about how one of her sons begged her to go to Paisley Park for an after-hours party because he wanted to see more Prince. She told him no because it was more of an over 21 crowd, but he really wanted to go. As of today, she has still never been able to get to Paisley Park, but she hopes to get there someday with the right people in her company. One thing she's always loved is how Minnesota has continued to honor Prince. It was not just fans who remembered him. The sports teams did too. The Vikings, Twins, Timberwolves, and others found special ways to pay tribute to him. And that says a lot about what he meant to the state. Prince was not just from Minnesota, he was part of Minnesota. Prince was more than famous, he was original. He did things his own way. He helped create a sound that people still connect with in Minnesota. And his music never really belonged to just one time. It still lives on, and so does the influence he had on so many people. While many people celebrate his birthday, Sarah chooses to remember him on the day he passed, which is today. Out of respect for his faith as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, that feels like the right way for her to honor him because they did not celebrate birthdays. It gives her time to stop and reflect on his life, his music, and what he meant to her. Prince will always be remembered as more than a star. He was a true original. And for those of us who loved his music and followed his life, he will never be forgotten. Thank you. There are a couple of stories. We're going to have a little conversation, Sarah and I, and then we will open up the floor to other stories and questions. But I know that I really want to hear about you playing peekaboo with Prince at a concert.
We were out watching before the concert started, and I was with a security guard, and we were standing between the sound booth and the stage, and he said, "Look at Prince. What's he doing?" And he was sitting in a chair similar to this, and he kind of got down and he popped up. And I looked back and I said, "Who's he doing that to?" And he goes, "He's kind of crazy." And I said, "Oh," I go, "Who's he doing that to?" And he did it a couple times, and we started laughing. And then as we were doing this, the fella on the stage said, "Prince, the gate has opened. People are coming in." And he got up and he ran to the stage, and he almost got caught on the main floor. So that was kind of cool because I think he was looking at playing with us.
I agree. I really think he was playing with you. Yeah. That is so awesome. How nice that you've had so many really spectacular and special moments that you were able to share with Prince throughout your life. I don't know of anybody, any figure in my life that I've had that connection with. So I'm very amazed by it. And you were one time in his dressing room at his house, correct?
Oh, no,
or no, not his house, at a studio. At the Civic Center.
He had a concert. My sister and I were called again to come and see the dressing room. And so her and I came at about midnight, and he brought us into the dressing room, and there was a baby grand piano and all of his clothes. There was leftover food, and then there was a candy machine. And her and I looked at each other and we started pulling the candy machine, and we're kind of eating some candy of this. And her and I tried on a lot of his clothes. She had the bathrobe on. I had the purple coat with the sparkles on it. And I had a full outfit. I was holding his pants, had a blouse on, and had the jacket on. And when I looked at the shirts, there were 12 of them, or 15. And on the label it said Prince. And I don't steal, but the thought crossed my mind that I really want one really bad. And I thought again, and I did not take it. I don't steal. So it's like, but it was so fun to have it on. And this, I mean, a lot of this, as you watch the video, he had the white ruffled blouse on, and that was the one that I wore. Yeah. So it was pretty sweet. And then we went on the stage and we looked around, and yeah, it was crazy. And I think we'd be in a lot of trouble if we got found out, especially when he was alive, because he was very private, super private. We went in the bathroom, and he had Brill cream and all sorts of fun stuff. His toothbrush was there. And it was fun. And we were the only ones there, so it was really fun.
How did you get in there?
The security guard that I was talking with, we knew him personally, and he told us, "Come on down, let's go look around." Yeah. And so we did. We spent a couple hours there. Yeah. I have a picture up there with his outfit on. Yeah. And by the candy machine. Yeah. Candy machine's fun.
How cool. Show of hands, who would have also thought maybe I should take one of these shirts because it would be cool to have? Because I definitely would have that thought. I don't think I would do it, like you said, but I would definitely have the thought.
He wouldn't miss just one. He wouldn't miss one. He was a bunch of the same shirt. Did not do it.
You're stronger than many of us, I think.
Know.
Yeah. I know I'm curious to know about the drum.
The drum.
Yes.
Okay. So I worked at the Civic Center from age 14 till about, and this was left behind by the Love Sexy show in 1988. And so they, one fella knew how much I liked Prince. I love Prince. He says, "I got a drum head for you." I said, "Okay." So he brought it. At the time, I really didn't know what he was talking about. This is awesome. It has a sticker on it, and the backstage pass sticker. And so that's how I acquired that way back in 1988. So that was how that came about. So,
That's really awesome. I also know, does everybody here know that Sarah has and loves dogs? Does everybody know what her dog's names are? Can you share that with us?
sure. So my middle dog, her name is Maite. And Maite is named after his first wife, Maite Garcia. And so everybody says, what's your dog's name? And I said, Maite. And they look at me. It's not, you know, a normal name. And I said, it's named after Prince's first wife, Maite Garcia, who he had a child with. And he passed away right after birth from a heart problem. So yeah, that's Maite. And then there's, of course, my young one. His name is Prince. And my grandson married them. So they are married. And yeah, and I have a book that was signed to me from Maite at her book signing. So that's really special. And I have some pictures of her too. So yeah.
What's the book?
It's The Beautiful One.
It's like a memoir.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you look at the Prince hat there, a lot of you remember Polly Ivancic. Polly went to one of the Twins games and he brought back the hat for me. So that is super special. We love Polly. So we miss him and I always cherish that hat.
It is a really cool hat. I like the diversity in things that you have collected. There's so many different items. And I know you were telling me just before we started about the painting. Would you tell that story to everybody?
So a friend of mine gave that to me. She had it in her log house right here. And she said, you know, it really doesn't fit my decor. And I know how much you love Prince. And I said, I love that painting because it's yours. And it was made for her from an artist in Minneapolis back in 2016, right after he passed. So that one is special too. Everything is special to me.
What a phenomenal way to be loved by so many people, and also to share Prince's love for his craft and his music with so many people as well. I think that's really powerful. Raise your hand if you have a Prince story of some sort. Any sort of connection, any story of what he means to you, or music, or hearing him at some point. We would love if anyone wants to share their Prince stories. And Lacey is going to come around with the microphone.
Well, and also in the meantime, if I can, I would love, Sarah, if you would comment and anyone else would comment. Your essay at the beginning, which I really appreciated, referred to Prince as an original. And I don't refute that, but I would love to dig into that. Like what is and was original about Prince from your view and from anyone else's?
He self-taught himself all of his instruments. I think it was the bass, the piano, the keyboard, drums. He played everything that he had.
Wow, he didn't have a musical education background?
No, he self-taught himself everything.
Was he like born of, like a middle class family or wealthy family?
No, very low class. Mom and dad divorced, and yeah, it was very traumatic.
Wow.
Yeah. Have to see the movie.
How did he access the instruments?
He started in school and then it just grew from there. Yeah, he had some friends, they got together and had like a garage band and he learned a lot. Really neat.
Wow, the power of community and education.
Like, just following your interests.
Yeah.
Like you don't need school to be your avenue through your Any other thoughts on what makes Prince original? Or Prince stories? Yeah. I'll go back, Karen. Oh, sorry, Caroline.
So this is not a personal story, but last Friday on NPR, there was a woman who was interviewed about her relationship with Prince. She lived catty corner from his house. Prince's mom was her godmother, and Prince was her babysitter for the first 3 or 4 years of her life. And she only knew him as Skipper, not Prince. And then this morning I was driving to Virginia and NPR came on again and there was another story. I'm not sure what the right word is. It's not bodyguard, but he was at all the concerts and performances and everything. And he was sort of managing the door and managing people and that kind of thing. And that too was a really sweet story. So I don't know if NPR had more of those, but I just heard 2 of them.
Thank you for sharing. Carolee.
I do have a personal story about Prince. I was at a Heart concert with a friend who was very good friends with Nancy Wilson. So we were backstage sitting in this little tent area when Prince and his security detail arrived and kicked us out. And I didn't go quietly. I said, no, we're not here to see you. In fact, I barely even knew who he was. We're here to see Heart. And he said, I don't care. You gotta go. I said, well, you're a little asshole. He looked at me and said, well, you're a bitch. And I like bitches. I want you to come to my party. So I did go to his party. I went to 2 of his parties. He didn't have Paisley Park then. This was the early 80s at his house. And then up until about 85 or 86, occasionally he would call and say, hey, I'm going to be at First Avenue. Because he would never announce it. He would just show up.
Security person or Prince?
No, Prince. Yeah, he'd call and say, hey, I'm going to be just showing up at First Avenue if you want to come down. And then up until the last time I saw him, again, probably about 85 or 86, I'd come in and he'd say, oh, it's my bitch. And I'd say, you're an asshole. So we had a little pet meme.
That's incredible.
Thank you for sharing. On the topic of Prince being original, I feel like that kind of style of managing, like how he was present and where he was present and how he communicated was like super unique.
Well, I never had any personal meeting with him, but I found out later I worked at a store in a Walgreens store in Golden Valley. And this couple, I waited on him so many times. And when Prince died, I found out that this was his sister.
Oh, wow.
And brother-in-law. So, and Chanhassen, I think he bought half, had bought half the land in Chanhassen. And I think the family still has parcels that they sell every once in a while.
We're all only like 1 degree of separation away from him.
How cool. Do you have any questions or other stories?
Gary's got one I've
Oh,
seen.
fantastic.
I'm still just I don't know, I guess inspired by him being a self-taught musician. Gotta chew on that for a while.
Just a couple quick thoughts. He's a vastly underrated guitar player.
Right.
He was really among the best. If you ever want to give an example, when George Harrison was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, there's a clip out on YouTube of him and Jeff Bland and George's son, and I mean superstars across the board. And the guitar solo that he does at the tail end of that, it's just amazing. And then there's this iconic image of when he leaves the stage, he tosses his guitar up in the sky and it like never comes down.
What, does it
It's
not?
quite amazing. So anyway, check it out on YouTube. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, and it'll bring it up. So my wife and I were fortunate enough it might have been the same set of concerts you mentioned with your boys in 2004. It was the musicology tour. And he hadn't played in Minnesota for quite a while. So it was kind of a homecoming. And we were there opening night. And to be part of 20,000 people singing Purple Rain at the end of a concert in the arena is just memorable.
That's so cool. I wonder if there's a particular song that you love that anybody has of Prince that is their favorite, or one that you would recommend for somebody who hasn't necessarily listened to Prince's music much.
I personally liked his older stuff before he became Jehovah's Witness, because I was younger once and it was good music. It's kind of naughty, but it was good. But I do prefer his older stuff. I love the Purple Rain CD. And I was at that musicology concert and you got the free CD. Did you get the free CD? Yep. Yep, me too. And that's the one that the kids wanted to go and then the person I was with, he fell asleep at the concert. So he was not a fan. So, but at least he went, he was a good sport. And music, there's a lot and some of them are kind of naughty, but okay. Yeah.
What changed? Like, well, first of all, I guess I'm interested, anything you would know off the top of your head about like how Prince became attracted to and decided to become a Jehovah's Witness. And then also, like, what do you perceive changed in his music after that?
He started getting into the Bible with the Jehovah's in 2001, and then he was baptized in 2003. So the musicology concert was a lot tamer than other concerts. And so he didn't swear and he still danced quite a bit, but I think that's when it changed after that. And he was always encouraging he said, I just saw every couple of years he would start a new band up and get them going and let them go.
Yep.
And encouraging, really encouraging to get more bands started with him, and then he let them fly. So it was nice.
Female.
Yes, a lot of female musicians, Sheila E. Yeah, a lot of them. Pretty neat.
I mean, you mentioned that you have a lot of reverence for the fact that he supported Minnesota as a state, right? He became like just such a unifier, and he has this self-taught quality. He's very expressive. I'm just curious, like, is there anything you do in your life that is sort of a result of the education you've received from him?
Not me, but my oldest son really resembles him a lot because he self-taught a lot of instruments. And so, yeah, it kind of carried into the family.
Yeah.
And he was a DJ. He's got numerous instruments. He was a pipe band player and numerous instruments.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of resembles him a little.
Yeah.
In that way.
Prince for the family.
Yeah.
I also think that something else I've learned about you in our conversations is that the building of Northern Expressions, your grandfather built, correct?
He lived in the building that where I am, and then he built what was the liquor store next door in 1937. And so that whole area was owned by the family.
And we heard that some of the family still owns pieces of Prince's land and compound. And so I think another connection is that you still have the building and land that is from your family.
Right.
And that's kind of something unique for my generation, at least. That's not something I see from like my friends and my contemporaries. And I think that's also a really interesting piece of connection.
Definitely. And I lived there, which everybody's like, why don't you live in a house? And I said, I like to live upstairs because that's where my grandparents were and my mom was raised. And so I enjoy being there. But yeah.
She's told me one time that the store is like her living room and it's her home.
Yep.
And I like that because when I walk in, it is very homey. Yeah. It's such a nice space and it's warm and welcoming. So
sit down and talk anytime. And we'll kick your feet up. I'll stay open later. I mean, we don't even need to stay open. Let's lock it and eat ice cream together. I don't care.
Yeah, when is the ice cream shop opening?
It will be open, fishing opener weekend.
Ooh,
if all goes well.
Good to know. Good to know. Something I think about a lot is the value of pop culture. You know, sometimes I think it's dismissed as, you know, it's not necessarily regarded as being values oriented or educational. You know, it has people just write it off as bubblegum pop, and it's not, it maybe lacks a certain amount of depth or value. But Prince seems like the ultimate like pop star who was bringing a lot of like complexity and meaning, and to your point, like has unified people across differences in the state of Minnesota, because we all feel so much pride. And now it's also a driver of guests coming to our state. You know, earlier this year, well, in 2025, there was a Dutch travel show TV host came to Minnesota and did a tour of Minnesota driven almost entirely by Prince curiosity. he and his wife from the Netherlands were big fans of Prince, and so they came to Minnesota and did several episodes of his TV show about their stay in Minnesota, with a focus on Prince first, and then they came to Ely, and he wanted to see a moose, but it didn't quite work out like that, you know. We don't quite have moose on demand, you know. I guess I'm just opening it up to talk about how valuable pop culture can be, even when it's sometimes dismissed as empty or vapid. So thanks for creating an opportunity to celebrate that.
Could we pass around that picture?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Which one? The clothes. Yes. Is that this one?
Oh yeah, Pat, I'll come over and then I'll go to Randy. Yeah.
Remember, this was 110 film, 110 film, and nothing, no cell phones, but.
This is a really cool picture.
I was just going to comment that with my generation, it was Bob Dylan. And so, and I think he's also a very special, unique musician.
Totally.
Yeah.
Who's the up and coming Minnesotan who's gonna carry the torch? Salty Dog, all right. All right. Well, it's a good candidate. Randy had something, and then I'll go up to Johnny.
I don't have any good Prince story, but I got a good Sarah story. I had my grandkids up. My whole family came up about 7 or 8 years ago, and we had dinner at Sir G's, a lot of Italian food. And then I was starving for ice cream. I love ice cream. And everything closes in Ely kind of early. This was like 8:30 on a Saturday night. And Heidi Peace, the owner of Sir G's, says, "Oh, let me call Sarah." I didn't know who Sarah was. And she said, "She's got the ice cream shop down the way." And she called Sarah. Sarah opened the store for my family and served us all ice cream at 8 o'clock at night. And I will never forget that.
Thank you for sharing.
That's another connection. You know, we heard from Carolee that Prince was so welcoming of people at his parties and inviting and just opening up space for that. And that's something else you're carrying on.
Some nights I'm a little tired.
Yeah. No
That
guarantees, no guarantees.
I'm wondering how you listen to Prince today. I know I have albums that was Purple Rain was one of my kids' favorite albums. Well, I was going to graduate school in Boston, and so they would just play that over and over. So I just had that stuck in my head associated with graduate school. But they're albums, and what do you have? How do you listen to that?
So they do have CDs. However, the truck I bought does not have a CD player. I was devastated. So my kids showed me how to use Pandora. So you can go to the Prince music. And so that all I have to do is hit that and it comes on really good. I don't get to listen to Purple Rain, but it's all of them, all of the songs. So it's pretty good. But I highly recommend you see the movie Purple Rain because you'll understand his upbringing. Some of it's kind of naughty, but
Is it a biography or autobiography?
kind of, but it's more music. It's more of his music and the fellas that he was with a lot. And there was a little rival there. And his father, I think, passed away. And it's good. It's
How
very
often
good.
do you watch it?
Well, I don't have a DVD player,
Oh,
but I have a cassette. But I don't have that. No, I haven't watched it for a while.
what was that? Oh, nope, you can just go ahead.
Little Red Corvette came out as a single in '83 and on an album, I think in '89, according to Wikipedia. I just looked. Anyway, somewhere between '83 and '89, I found myself at Universal Studios Hollywood with my wife. And there was a concert and a lot of brouhaha. Lots of folks showed up. It was a Prince concert. We knew nothing of him at the time, but he played on the Jumbotron for free for the admission to the park. So we did watch the concert with a big screen in front of us. Yeah,
That's cool.
it was fun.
Very lucky.
I also didn't know much about Prince but I love the show New Girl. And there's an episode with Prince where the cast of New Girl gets invited to one of his parties, and the interaction they had and the way that he showed up in that episode did make me very curious about him. And I did go look up information and music because he just seemed so interesting from the way that they portrayed him on the show, which now I'm learning is how he was everywhere. It was very representative of who he was as a person and artist.
He has an episode with the Muppets, and you have to see it. It's awesome. He was like a little kid, and he was an adult, and he acted like a little kid with them. I think he was with Sesame Street characters too, or was it the Muppets? But for sure the Muppets. So look that up. That's good.
Sarah, what can you tell us about this symbol and like what was his thought process behind changing his name and kind of what do you know about that?
He changed his name for a while there because it was a recording dispute. Yeah, it was a control thing, and he was not happy. And so then he did his symbol, which means love. I found that out. I didn't know that for years, but it means love. So yeah, that's his symbol. And I've had a couple people in the store with tattoos of it, and I'm like, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
Does anyone else have any, like, what do we know about Prince and the way that he showed up as like kind of androgynous? I know that's a big word, but it like kind of means like from a gender perspective, he was someone like he's a man, but he was sort of feminine in how he did fashion and the way his like affect, he's like maybe like gender bender. Yeah. Do we have any thoughts about that?
He was kind of colorful. Yeah, colorful. Yeah.
Original.
Some of his outfits, yeah, I don't know. I don't back in the 80s, they were a little risque. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's easy to move in when he's dancing.
Yeah.
We'll just say it like that. Yeah.
What else can you tell us about your show and tell items?
Yes, the umbrella was a twins giveaway. It was the first year, I believe. And it was one of the most expensive giveaway they've ever had. So that's pretty special. The Prince symbol in the middle was given to me by my son and his wife when I turned 50. So that's special. And then of course, Randy made the nice paddle with the Prince symbol, and I keep that out year round. So picture of Maite on the right there, his first wife, the book signed by her, the hat from Polly, a lot of magazines, they'll show up in my mail from people. I thought you needed to have this. And okay, thank you. And the jerseys, the Minnesota Wild jersey was from last year. I have a Vikings one. I have the Twins jersey. Everybody will always find one and give it to me. I have a couple that go to the Twins game every year, and they'll bring me back 2 of the giveaway, because I can't get away. It's usually the first week of June. So yeah, I can't get away. And I have a lot more in the window that I did not bring.
And I know there's something about this sign that you were mentioning.
Yeah, this sign was from the tour for when we got in the dressing room. So that one's special. Yeah, he had like 4 concerts that night or that week, and so that's when we snuck into the dressing room.
Yes, Mr. Jokala.
Yeah, no, before my time, I saw James Brown at the Caboose.
Ooh.
I was a little young to be in there.
And he was supposed to show up. He was supposed to show up there, but I don't know that he ever did. It was so crowded in there, I couldn't have seen him if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But
Prince was supposed to show up.
Yeah, he was supposed to be there.
Yeah, no.
But I didn't see him.
I was too young to be in there, but my sister wanted to go to the James Brown concert, and I said, okay. And yeah, it was interesting.
I'm curious, does anyone raise your hand if there's something, whatever it is, that you love with as much enthusiasm as Sarah has demonstrated for Prince, whether it's Prince or not? Oh, I recommend it. Like, how cool,
Wow.
Sarah? Like, because people know this about you, then when they see Prince, they think of you. And how well, like, I mean, as demonstrated by the fact that, you know, people send you the magazines and they bring you the stuff from the Twin Games. Like, I think it's really powerful to be open about what you love. It gives people an opportunity to celebrate that with you.
It's not the norm up here to be a Prince person. Except, here's a little secret. Nick Wognum loves Prince.
I love this insight too.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Him and I always talk Prince.
Cannot wait to go to the Echo
I know.
and ask about that. As we, oh, even on your favorite, yeah. As we wrap up, do you have maybe time to stay up here a little bit? And if people want to see the artifacts and ask other questions, should we read your shirt in closing? Because it says, this is Prince now, a legend, the perfect man, super smart, sexy, funny, always full of good ideas, basically the most interesting man in the world, which I think sums up what I've learned about Prince today. So thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming here and sharing your love of Prince with all of us. And we will see you next week for the program that I wrote down and then forgot.
It's the Soil and Water Conservation District for North St. Louis County. So that group of folks is going to be focusing on invasive species, but they can speak to other parts of their programming as well. So that will be the program next week, and we'll see y'all here then and probably many times in between. Thank you, Sarah.
You know what I